What's up, everybody? It's Michael Flecha, and welcome to this, y'all. And yes, this has been an unbelievable day in the FIFA World Cup. Um, Unbelievable afternoon. 4 games in the books. Um, and here it is. So we're gonna start it off with Qatar and Switzerland, and it ended up in a 1-1 draw. Switzerland getting the goal in the 17th minute via a penalty kick. There was a penalty early on, foul in the box that led to the PK, and it was Mbappe. Mbappe. He gets the goal, and that gave him a 1-0 lead. It didn't go until the very end, the 95th minute, probably about a minute or two left in the match, and Qatar gets the equalizer. They get the goal to tie the match, and an unbelievable ending. If you're Switzerland, you're absolutely beside yourself. You had the game. I mean, you controlled the whole possession. You had 68% of the ball, 26 shots to 6. On target was 7-2. I mean, 10 corner kicks. I don't even like if you are Switzerland, how did this get away from you? How did this get away? Qatar gets their first goal in the FIFA World Cup ever, a major result for them as well, and it ended up being even bigger for them because of the fact that because they're in that same group alongside with Canada, with Bosnia and Herzegovina, and everybody is tied. Everybody has 1 point, as you know from yesterday. Bosnia and Herzegovina and Canada also ended in a 1-1 tie. So major outcome, major result. Yeah, it basically turns the tide right before our very eyes. So we'll see how that plays out. Going into the next matchup, this one was the big one. One of the marquee games of the day in New York. It was Morocco going up against Brazil, the mighty Brazil, the 5-time world champions. Another 1-1 draw. This one was actually early on. It was Morocco getting the goal right out of the gate, 21 minutes in, and they were 1-0. And then Vinicius Jr. gets on the board, his first goal of the FIFA World Cup, 32nd minute in, and he equalizes. And at that point, it was basically game over. Neither team really scored. It was a back and forth. This was what you expected. Two heavyweights, one from the African nation, a South American giant in Brazil. But there's been a lot of questions about Brazil, especially for the last few years. A lot of people feel like, is Brazil that good? Are they still the mighty Brazil as I remember them? Because I remember the days, when they won in 1994, they got to the final in 1998, won the 2002 World Cup, and that was in Korea and Japan. They won the whole thing, and it feels like they've kind of lost their way in the last few tournaments. They've had an embarrassing uh, failure, especially the year that they were in their own FIFA World Cup. They were living dangerously on a number of games, and then they had that absolute collapse against Germany in the semifinal, where basically Brazil just did not show up in that game. And as a matter of fact, they even didn't really show up even in the third place game. It was so bad, and they haven't been as invincible as they were back then. Like whenever you saw Brazil and the beautiful soccer or the beautiful football they used to play, they used to just it was like a samba. It was so beautiful. It was just well designed. All the offense, all the defense. There was nothing wrong with Brazil. There was nothing leaking on the Brazilian side. And now you see, there's been a lot of questions. offensively, defensively. Should Neymar been on the team? There's been a lot of conversation about, has Brazil kind of lost their way? And Morocco, you can say whatever you want to say about Morocco. I know a lot of people are not really fond of Morocco right now because of what happened at the AFCON, the African Championship tournament, and the African Cup and everything else. And there's been a lot of negativity towards that team, but the way they played today, I mean, it was a great battle. It was back and forth exactly as you expected. Brazil had 51% of the possession. Morocco had 49. So I mean, virtual split. 14 shots to 12 shots for Morocco. Again, almost right down the middle, almost a split. So neither team really, like, they never dominated in their level of play. It was basically, you took some, we took some. We gave you a break, you got a break. It was basically a pull and tug the whole way through. Is like we said, two heavyweights, two great battles, and this was exactly what it needed it to be. A solid game, great action all the way through. So yeah, impressed. And then the third game right here in our own backyard in Boston. It was Scotland versus Haiti. Scotland wins it 1-0. McGann gets the goal in the 28th minute. And oh my goodness, what a shot. It was a beautiful golazo. What a shot. What a goal. For the Scottish fans out there in Boston, guys, thank you for giving us. This is what the World Cup is all about, man. This is why, um, when the United bid happened, to have moments like this. I mean, if you've been watching social media, YouTube, Facebook, X, Insta, whatever, just the scenes of the Scots just invading Boston and just doing their thing, having the parties, just, dude. And then there's that moment in Copley Square, which is up in Boston, Massachusetts. Just those fans singing that anthem, man. I mean, that's what the World Cup is all about. This is why, let's take the politics away. Let's take all the whatever you want to call it. It's moments like this is why the United States, Mexico, and Canada pushed to get this World Cup, this FIFA World Cup, for moments like what we saw in New York with the Brazilians and how they absolutely shut it down Times Square. And that was even before the New York Knicks game tonight. So you had that going on. Then you've had, the South Koreans and the Mexicans having the time of their lives down in Mexico right now. And then obviously, the USA and what they did last night. So already we're seeing unbelievable things happen in this World Cup, and it's only 3 days in. It makes me very happy and it makes me optimistic that this could end up being one of the best tournaments ever. And up to this point, it's looked like the action's been amazing. So, um, big ups to the boys. Big ups to the Scots for winning the game. And oh, by the way, because of that win, they now top the group. That's right, they have 3 points. Scotland is at top. Morocco and Brazil are in second, tied with 1. And then Haiti, unfortunately, is on. They got to try to recover from that game. So, but it doesn't get any easier for them going into that next matchup. And then the game that just went final just a couple of minutes ago. And it was Australia, the Socceroos, Aussie, oi, oi, oi. They took down Turkey, a major stunner in this World Cup. A lot of people were talking about Turkey possibly winning the group. A lot of people thought Turkey was going to be the biggest threat in this group because of how they play, their style of play. They're so amazing on the offense, the defense. They got such great players. Somebody forgot to tell Australia because they did not get the script. They did not listen to that script. Australia came out and they took it to Turkey. More on the counterattack than anything else because if you look at the stats of this game, you would say that Turkey should have won this because when you got 73% of the play, 30 shots by Turkey and you see that, you're just like, how on earth did Turkey lose then? Well, the way they lost it, well, first off, you had an early goal in the 27th minute, and this was kind of one of those type of plays that, it was just beautiful setup, and it just went, going around, going around, going around, and it was Arakaka, and he buries it right behind the net, right in the back, and then you got McCaff, and he gets the second goal in the 75th minute. And the Socceroos are celebrating here tonight as they just stuns Turkey, and down they go. And that's a massive 3 points for Australia because now this heads up a major showdown between the USA and Australia. Practically, the winner of this game automatically will advance to the next round, goes to around the 32 guaranteed. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's gonna decide group winner, and most likely not yet. We'll have to wait for the third match, but you win this game, you practically all but put yourself in a prime spot to advance to the next round, and that's ultimately the goal that you want to see. USA looked dominant in their performance yesterday, 4-1. Now Australia turns around, stunning Turkey and taking them out by the final score of 2-0, and that will lead us to what's going to happen tomorrow. The first game coming out tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time is going to be Germany going up against Curacao. Then at 4 p.m., we're going to have is the Netherlands. They will start. You're going to see the Orange Crush. The Orange Crush will be invading in Arlington in the Dallas Stadium. But you watch out, boys, because you got a sleeper on your hand because you're going up against the Samurai of Japan. So that's going to be a good one. And then we'll have the Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire, will make their World Cup debut, and they will go up against Ecuador. That game will be in Philly. And then the final game at 10 o'clock, it'll be Tanzania. They'll be going up against Sweden, and that will be in Monterrey, Mexico. So that's it. Those are the 4 games. You're going to get to see it all tomorrow. That's it, guys, and I'll be back tomorrow night to do another recap. So thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment. Share with all your friends on all the social media platforms. I'm going to bed. So good night, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.